Hello everyone, welcome to my first YouTube video. If you've come from my other socials, then you've probably seen that I've been customizing my Ever After High dolls, whether it's giving them new hair, painted accessories, or even a whole new outfit. But there's only so much that I can fit into that short form content. I want to go more in depth on my process and opinions, so here we are. This channel probably won't be exclusively Ever After High, as I have many more interests including Barbie, Disney, Monster High, so those will probably make an appearance at some point too. Anyways, for today's victim, Miss Ginger Breadhouse. Now I do love her doll, but there are some small changes or improvements I want to make. I'm gonna reroot her to give her longer hair, and not that I hate nylon, but I do prefer saran or nylon for their styling abilities. In her case, I've picked out nylon. I'll also add some missing accessories and details. Jumping right to it, I start by cutting off her hair. Now that she's bald, I'm gonna remove her head from her body and scrape out all the plugs from the inside with my pliers. Then I'll pull it all out with my tweezers. And now that that's all done, I'm just gonna push this aside. Once the head is free of hair, I like to let it sit in boiling water. I highly recommend doing this and letting the head sit in it for a minute, which will shrink the holes and that'll help the hair stay in better when you reroot later. Now that she's all prepped and ready to be rooted, here's the hair I'm using. It's actually the same blend I used for my Cupid reroot, but I'll mainly be using this hair from Shimmerlocks instead. Now that I have all my supplies, it's time to get started. But before jumping right into it, I recommend misting the hair with water and combing through it to make it a little easier to manage. Also, I'm going to cut this hair in half since it's so long, which will give us double to work with. And then it's just doing it. I like to lay out quite a few plugs at once and then root all those until I run out, then do it again. I find it makes it go a little faster and helps with having more control over the loose hair. Also, this is my first time doing a time-lapse while rerooting, so if it's not the best angle or if it's kind of hard to see what I'm doing, I'm sorry about that. I'm still figuring all this out. Doing time-consuming projects like this definitely allows me to rewatch or watch new things, and I decided to rewatch a favorite cartoon of mine, and if you can guess it, I will give you 20 good noodle stars. Alright, all of the main pink color is rooted, so now I'm going to go in with this lighter pink. I'm going to put this every few plugs around the hairline and the part line. And I'm not totally sure if I'm going to actually add this one anymore. I'll just wait and see how I feel. Alright, the reroot is complete. And I didn't end up using that lightest shade of pink because I'm happy with how it looks with just the two. I'm very pleased with how it turned out. I can't wait to style it. Even though I used the knot method, she had some splits in her part line, so I'm going to use Fabri-Tac glue along the inside to help secure it. When doing this, I make sure to really just squish it around all up in there just to make sure it gets all the plugs so that none of her hair will fall out later. Then I let it dry overnight. Welcome to the bathroom. Now that the glue is dry, I'm going to pop her head back on her body. There we go. I'm going to pour boiling water over her head to help set the part line and to let it lay flatter, which will help with styling later. I brush through it as I go to get it to lay how I want, then rinse and repeat. Now that the pink cousin knit is done being set, I'm going to let it cool down and dry for a bit. I'm going to cut her hair off camera because I'm still not totally confident in my cutting abilities and I want to make sure I don't mess it up, so I'll be right back. Alright, I think that's decent. I have my sections separated and ready to style. Now I know her hair isn't curly, but I want to add a little oomph to it. I take a small section of hair and get it really wet, like soaking. Then I brush it out as straight as I can get it. I place a straw right on top and a cut straw behind, sandwiching the hair in between the two. If needed, I place bobby pins on top of the outer straw to help hold it in place, but make sure the straight side faces outwards. Then pull the straws till the ends of the hair are covered and roll up the hair and straw. Then place another cut straw on top covering the hair and secure that one with more bobby pins. Then do that on the rest of the hair. I leave out the bangs though. And here's what she looks like when she has all of her curlers in. Now I'm going to fill this bowl with boiling water. And dunk her in, making sure all the curls are submerged. And I'll let her sit in there for a minute or two. Then I'll take her out and pat off the excess water. And let her dry fully overnight. While her hair dries, I'm going to jump to accessories and put these ones aside since I'm not going to touch them. I painted these yellow details on her glasses a while back and I'm just going to leave them as they are. The real fun is I was able to 3D print the bracelet and ring she was supposed to come with but didn't. So I'll whip out my gold paint to match them to her other accessories. I was also able to print some tiny buttons, which I'll end up painting blue so I could put on her jacket. Oh, and I almost forgot her necklace, which I will paint pink, and then I think I'm going to cut off the shoulder pieces so it lays better under the jacket. For the ring and bracelet, I start with a tan base layer so the gold will show up better. I did have to layer a couple different shades of gold to get a closer match, and it's not perfect, but it's pretty close and I think it looks good. I'm just so happy I was able to print these with my new resin printer. I've gotten to print so many missing details and accessories from my own dolls, and it'll take customizing to the next level with projects like this one. So I decided to trim down the necklace after all. But just remember, y'all, to be very careful when working with an X-Acto knife or any kind of sharp object because I broke a razor and it flew. Yeah, so thankfully it didn't fly at me, but again, be careful. Anyways, here's the necklace trimmed down. And I'm going to start with a base layer of white paint so that the pink paint will help show better. Then I mix a pink paint that will hopefully match her other pink accessories. It's not totally perfect, but I think it's pretty close. And here they are done. I sealed them so that the paint won't rub off on the doll or her clothing. I sewed the buttons onto the coat using a lighter thread to mimic the swirls they're supposed to have, and now I want to add this trim to her dress. Her original design has a goldish trim at the hem, but her doll didn't come with it, so I'm using this one I have on hand to do that. It's not exactly accurate, but I think it gives the same vibe and looks pretty. So I open the dress to lay flat, then measure and cut the trim I need. I'll pin it on and sew it. I just undid the back seam since it's easier to sew flat and I can use my machine that way rather than doing it all by hand. And here it is sewn on. Now I'll just sew back up the back seam to close up the dress again. And here it is. It's a small change, but I think it elevates the whole look just a touch more. And that's it for the outfit. Back to the hair now that it's dry. First, I'll take out all her straw curlers. Revealing the new curls is always one of my favorite parts. I know some people don't like nylon, but I like it when I need a curly style as it holds so well. It is a little more bouncy as well, but I like to use that to my advantage. And she's done. Just kidding, now we got a style. I brush out each section, trying to not do too much hair at once because I'm not trying to tangle and rip it all out. I switch between my comb and a round brush depending on my mood, to be honest. And once the first side is done, I'll do the other. Now that she's all brushed out, I'm going to put her hair into 2 pigtails. Just like that. Then I'm going to take some pomade, to style it. And this is what I'm left with. I brush it all throughout her hair and sort of let it style itself while making some adjustments without fighting the hair. The more you try to fight it, the less it works, but this stuff has made styling a lot easier for me personally. Now I'll finish her bangs off camera so I don't mess them up. And to finish her up, I painted these beads and string them on some elastic cord to tie around her pigtails. And this is how those turned out. And a peek at her bangs. And now a drum roll for her reveal, please. Here she is, and I love her so much. I think she looks just as she should have with all the correct details. I wish Ever After High could have stuck to their original quality for the rest of their releases, but Mattel's quality is a tale as old as time. I knew I had to do this transformation when I found her ring and bracelet on Cults 3D from Print Essence, which just looks so good and so official. And of course the buttons on her jacket, which add so much charm. They're also from Print Essence on Cults 3D. And I love the way this trim looks. I know it's simple, but I love it. Her hair looks so much more candy-like, in my opinion. I just think she looks so sweet with the pigtails and the curls and that bright pink color. Again, no shade to Kanekalon, but I think this just suits her so much more. She might be my favorite makeover so far. She's just so cute. I hope you guys enjoyed watching the process of making her. Please let me know if you have any suggestions on the making of these videos, as it's my first time, so I want to make them as good as I can for y'all. Thank you so much for your support, and I hope to see you back next time. Bye!